Come, let us explore this dawn's meditation class and group practice that we too could meditate like a Jedi. This morning, let us explore the 20th passage of the Unwaning Victory Banner, the great meditation classic composed by the great Buddhist reformer Vajra. Together, let us relaxingly recite, Emaho, oh how wonderful. Buddha's sphere of experience cannot be found through seeking and striving. As it is not an object of sensory perception, to search for it is like a blind man reaching for the sky. So, oh how wonderful was a sincere statement rendered by the author, Vajra. I included the Tibetan version, Emaho, because this has been an abused statement by many Tibetan practitioners who believe they're supposed to create or contrive a sense of wonder and awe and astonishment like a member of an evangelical congregation sincerely exclaiming, "Glory!" during a sermon. The problem with this is that it leads to the patriarchal, elitist practice of contriving emotion, judging ourselves by which emotions we feel and at what intensity we feel them, and then judging others similarly. And that is antithetical to the practice of spontaneity, of being honest with what we're experiencing in the moment. Whether we're experiencing a great or a subtle emotion, or perception, or intention, or thought, or memory, or imagining. I've known there are prominent teachers of Dzogchen. I'm thinking of a Western one right now, whose name I won't share with you, who cannot cobble together a cogent sentence because he feels he has to teach from a state of contrived ecstasy. And then to induce these states of contrived ecstasy, some people, and this began in Tibet, some people began doing specific physical yogas to contrive those states, which, as you can imagine, is exhausting and the furthest thing from centered spontaneity, which could be argued as the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path, which should be very primary stuff. For this to make sense, I'll need to review the basics. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. That suckiness could be described as yang, or patriarchy, or rightist. I was raised, and like most people, I was raised to be rightist. I was raised to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. If that's not politically leftist, it's spiritually rightist. If that's not politically rightist, it is spiritually rightist. 10% of us have been fortunate enough to see the folly of the way we were raised, and we're trying to do something intelligent about it. And so we are choosing the path of yin, the path of matriarchy, the path of the left, the path of being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. The rightists will say, well, you've got to actively focus and actively analyze. But science shows us that if we do that excessively, we will exhaust the front of our brain, causing us to present with symptoms of depression, as well as trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. And nobody feels that anxiety and aggression are going to give them a happy, peaceful, fulfilling life. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. A fancy word for our spinal cord is our autonomic nervous system. We can think of it in terms of the center bit, which is the sympathetic aspect, or the end bits, which is the parasympathetic bits. Every time we inhale, we have evolved to automatically access the center bit of our autonomic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. So we notice all manner of phenomena spontaneously, vulnerably, passively, randomly, be it external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. But what do we do with that which we notice? Each time we exhale, the parasympathetic nervous system is wired to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining, and figuratively feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, what's a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. The most efficient way to passively cooperate with our autonomic nervous system is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, as well as silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. Emaho, oh how wonderful, Buddha's sphere of experience. The sphere of experience is whatever we perceive, emote, intend, reason, recall, or imagine. What makes it a Buddha's sphere of experience is how our response to it. When our response to it is to notice and release, that is the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. That is mindfulness and meditation. That is the key that unlocks the vault of the remaining six folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, whose mastery is none other than enlightenment, and something that each of us could master in as little as a week of twice daily practice. Imaho, oh how wonderful, Buddha's sphere of experience cannot be found through seeking and striving. There's nothing wrong with intermittently focusing and analyzing. We evolved to do that intermittently, but we make it a constant thing. We exhaust our brain and harm ourselves. I once had an acquaintance who played the Cowardly Lion in her junior high school performance of The Wizard of Oz. And she just gave herself so enthusiastically to the role that she injured herself. And no one cared about the cost of her antics. They just cared about how cool her antics looks and how well it made the play flow. Each of us can be in a similar situation when we use parts of our brain in a way that is incompatible with how they evolve. Now that begs the question, how are we to know which parts of our brain to use, when, and how long? And the answer is, if we just make a habit of noticing and relaxing every 12 hours or so, then we will find that our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from spontaneity, not scattered spontaneity, but centered spontaneity. Flowing from centered spontaneity, we will use all the parts of our brain in the most sustainable manner. Buddha's sphere of experience cannot be found through seeking and striving, as it is not an object of sensory perception. To search for it is like a blind man reaching for the sky. Most of us were raised to be rigid and fearful and superstitious and controlling and elitist and competitive. Most of us were raised either being overtly told or having the following statement inferred. Brace yourself for the destructive lie. Here it comes. If it is to be, it is up to me. When I was a member of a Christian cult way back in the 80s, I was being continually told to make it happen. And if you did your best and you got bad results, there was no grace. There was just cruelty. But that was not unique to the cult I was a member in. We see that all over. We see that in corporate America. We see that in some romantic relationships. So the freedom the Buddha offers us is freedom from the rigidity with flexibility, freedom from fear with love, freedom from superstition with rationality, freedom from being controlling with instead being laid back, freedom from being elitist and competitive, instead being egalitarian and cooperative. Having completed our opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I'm a weirdo, and so for more than 30 years I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyper-focus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, we could play with the latest iteration of Very Easy Meditation practice text. This text and the text I just used during class are available for free download using the links in the description area below the video. The easiest way to keep track of our first collection of 144 inhalations is by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. To keep track of our first set of 12 inhalations, we could use our right thumb to count the creases of its four fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. By the way, I find doing a bit of bear walking and crab walking and duck walking right before class helps to effortlessly stimulate the core muscles that make sitting much easier. We can use our left thumb and the creases of its fingers to count 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. Our job is not to pick and choose what emotions we feel. Our job is simply to notice the present moment experience as we breathe in and relax into it as we breathe out. To keep track of our second collection of 144 inhalations, we begin by resting the second knuckle of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. We can use our right thumb to count 12 inhalations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can use our left thumb to count 12 sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, of 12 inhalations each. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's dusk meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.